Trump loses it after shocking order sent shockwaves through Washington and far beyond, as a single decision triggered chaos, confusion, and outrage across the United States. What began as a quiet administrative move quickly exploded into a national controversy, exposing deep divisions, raw emotions, and a political climate already stretched to its breaking point. Within hours, social media lit up, cable news went into overdrive, and insiders began leaking alarming details about what really happened behind closed doors. According to multiple sources familiar with the situation, the order was signed hastily after a tense internal meeting. Witnesses described Donald Trump as visibly furious, pacing the room, dismissing objections, and demanding immediate action. Advisors reportedly tried to slow things down, warning about legal consequences and public backlash, but those warnings fell on deaf ears. Trump, already under intense pressure from multiple fronts, appeared determined to assert control, no matter the cost. The contents of the order immediately raised eyebrows. Legal experts questioned its constitutionality, while civil rights groups sounded the alarm. Some called it unprecedented, others labeled it reckless, but almost everyone agreed on one thing: this was not a routine move. The language of the order was unusually aggressive, signaling a hard-line stance that many feared would escalate existing tensions rather than calm them. As news of the order broke, reactions poured in from every corner of the country. Protesters took to the streets in several major cities, holding signs, chanting slogans, and demanding answers. Video footage of these demonstrations spread rapidly online, some clips racking up millions of views in a matter of hours. In certain areas, confrontations between protesters and law enforcement intensified, adding fuel to an already raging fire. Inside the White House, the mood reportedly shifted from confidence to crisis. Officials scrambled to manage the fallout, issuing statements that attempted to downplay the situation while simultaneously defending the president's authority. Behind the scenes, however, sources say panic was setting in. Phone lines were burning as governors, lawmakers, and agency heads demanded clarification on how the order would be enforced and what it meant for their states. Trump himself did not remain silent for long. In a series of heated remarks, he lashed out at critics, accusing them of spreading misinformation and undermining national security. His tone was combative, at times erratic, reinforcing the impression that he was under immense strain. Supporters praised his toughness, arguing that decisive action was long overdue. Critics, however, saw something else entirely: a leader losing control. Former officials and political analysts quickly weighed in, many expressing concern about the broader implications. They warned that the order could set a dangerous precedent, eroding democratic norms and expanding executive power in ways that would be difficult to reverse. Some compared the moment to past crises in U.S. history, noting that decisions made under pressure often carry consequences far beyond their original intent. Meanwhile, leaks continued to surface. Anonymous insiders described shouting matches, slammed doors, and frantic last-minute edits to the order's text. One source claimed that parts of the document were changed just minutes before it was finalized, raising serious questions about oversight and due process. Another suggested that Trump viewed the order not only as policy, but as a personal statement of defiance against his opponents. On Capitol Hill, the reaction was swift and divided. Allies rushed to defend the president, framing the order as a necessary response to what they called an urgent national threat. Opponents demanded investigations, emergency hearings, and in some cases outright reversal. The clash played out live on television, with lawmakers talking over one another, highlighting just how polarized the situation had become. Public opinion appeared deeply split. Polls taken in the immediate aftermath showed sharp differences along political lines. For some Americans, the order symbolized strength and leadership. For others, it represented fear, instability, and a step toward authoritarianism. Families argued, workplaces buzzed with debate, and the story dominated dinner table conversations across the country. Internationally, the reaction was no less intense. Foreign leaders issued cautious statements, carefully choosing their words while monitoring the situation closely. Adversaries, however, seized on the moment, using it to criticize American governance and promote their own narratives. As hours turned into days, the legal challenges began to mount. Lawsuits were filed, injunctions requested, and courts were asked to step in. Judges demanded explanations, agencies requested guidance, and confusion reigned as conflicting interpretations of the order emerged. In some regions, enforcement was delayed or halted altogether, further underscoring the disorder unleashed by the decision. Through it all, Trump remained defiant. He doubled down on his rhetoric, portraying himself as the victim of a coordinated attack by the media, the courts, and political enemies. In rallies and online posts, he framed the controversy as proof that he was fighting for the country against powerful forces determined to stop him. This messaging resonated strongly with his base, even as it alarmed others. What made the situation especially volatile was the timing. The nation was already grappling with economic uncertainty, social unrest, and political fatigue. Many Americans felt exhausted by constant crises, yet here was another flashpoint threatening to spiral out of control. Mental health experts even noted a spike in stress and anxiety as people struggled to process the non-stop barrage of alarming news. Behind the dramatic headlines and fiery speeches, a deeper question loomed. What happens next? Would the order stand, reshaping policy and power dynamics, or would it be struck down, becoming another chapter in an ongoing battle between the executive branch and its critics? No one seemed to have a clear answer, and that uncertainty only added to the tension. Some former supporters quietly expressed doubts, saying the chaos was becoming too much. Others insisted this was exactly why they backed Trump, arguing that disruption was necessary to break what they saw as a broken system. The divide was not just political, but emotional, reflecting fundamentally different visions of what America should be. As the dust continued to swirl, one thing became clear. This shocking order was more than just a policy move. It was a moment that exposed fault lines running through the nation's institutions, its leadership, and its people. Whether seen as bold or reckless, calculated or impulsive, it forced the country to confront uncomfortable questions about power, accountability, and the future of American democracy. And as cameras kept rolling, protests continued, and legal battles unfolded, the story was far from over. Trump losing it after this shocking order was not just a headline, but a snapshot of a nation at a crossroads, watching in real time as history threatened to repeat itself, or perhaps to take an entirely new and unpredictable turn.